Another video wiring up car stereo for my son. Well, he's gonna do it himself, but okay. Picked up a wiring harness for the vehicle. This is for Chevy, Pontiac, I think Buick or something, but just order the one that's for your vehicle. Okay, so this we got in the mail. We ordered it from Amazon. It was like $4. You can get them in the parts store if you have a newer vehicle. If you have a newer vehicle, you might not be doing this, to be honest. Okay, this is part of this harness. And this is the harness that comes off the back of the stereo. Okay, now very simple. Okay, these are already set up to hook up. Okay, so very simple. Yellow to yellow, red to red, so on and so forth. Okay, so yellow is pretty much always going to be your constant. As you can see, this says it right on it, constant. I don't know how well you can see that, but right here it says constant on it, 12 volt. Okay, so that's going to go to the yellow. Okay, so this is the way they pretty much always work. Okay, blue is for the remote, which is what you would use to run the wire to your amplifier. And then from your amplifier you would run a power wire, a ground, and then speaker wire. Okay, now this is your ignition. So this is 12 volt ignition. There's only power when you turn the key. As opposed to this, there's always power with the yellow one. Okay, the orange is the dimmer. So when you turn down your lights on your dashboard, the radio will dim with it also. Most people don't bother hooking that up, and we are not going to. Okay, this orange is the same thing. I don't know why there's two on this, but there are two dimmer switches, and they both do the same thing. I don't know, and looks kind of yellow here, but it is orange. Okay, black is always your ground. Okay, then you have two of each speaker. I'm not sure which colors are which. I can look them up if you want, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so you have a positive and a negative of each color. So here's a gray, and here's a gray with a black stripe on it. All right, see, black stripe and gray. And this one's just gray. Okay, so there's a negative and this is a positive, and if you read it, it says right on it, right front positive. The other one says right front negative. Okay, but even simpler than that, you're gonna match the colors. Okay, now if you don't have these colors, obviously you have to read these and look up your specifications for your, well, this is the vehicle one. You're gonna have to look up the specifications for that, but I pretty much guarantee they're gonna come already written on there. Okay, so you have speaker wire for, like I said, this is front right. Okay, then you have positive and negative for front left. And you have positive and negative for left rear. And positive and negative for whatever I didn't just say. Right rear. Okay, so positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. So you have 4 speakers. Most vehicles only have 4 speakers. Okay, so those are your speakers. These are your 2 power wires. This is your ground. You don't need the rest of them unless you're running an amp. Okay, so if you're not going to use a wire, the best thing to do is snip these pieces off so you don't have any exposed wire. Where is that? There it is. Okay, you don't want any exposed wire. It could touch something. Okay, so this is exactly how you're going to do it for each of them. Now, if you don't have any solder, the easiest thing to do is just put these 2 black ones together. This is the ground. Give it a twist, and then put some electrical tape on there. We're going to do it a little bit fancier. No big deal, you're not going to see this, but I'd rather just be tight and know that it's good. So what I'm going to do is like a shoelace. Okay. Alright. So twisted them together. Now you want something to drip on. We don't care about this table, but you want to make sure you have something to drip on. Even newspaper is fine, believe it or not, it will not light on fire. Okay, this is our soldering gun. Okay. Now get yourself a decent amount of slack so you don't burn yourself. And all you're going to do, I like to kind of bend this. Get this stuff out of the way. You got to make sure you're not dripping on things that you don't want to touch, but what I like to do is give myself so that I can have space under it and it's not touching anything. And then all you're going to do is put the gun to it. This one has a trigger. They don't all have triggers, but mine doesn't get hot till you hit the trigger. So now I'm hitting it. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, it's on, it's getting hot. So now I put the tip of it. Now my tip's bent, but it doesn't matter. You can buy new tips. Right? And now as it gets hot, see I touch the end. And see how my hand's going in because the soldering is getting shorter. Alright, and then what you can do is you can move it back and forth a little bit while it's still hot with this hot piece. See out right there, it's stuck, and I touch it, and now it's liquid again. Okay, now you're supposed to go all the way around with it and everything, but really this is car stereo wire. You really don't even need it, but as you can see, it has gone all the way around. Now it's not going anywhere. The other thing you can do is they make those little tubes of plastic, and what you would do is you put the plastic tube over first. Okay, then you solder the two colors together, twist them, solder them, and then you can take the tube, slide it over, and heat shrink over it, and that would cover all of that with heat shrink wrap. We don't have that, so we are just using old-fashioned electrical tape, which we're going to have to find because I don't have it here. Okay, so piece of electrical tape. I put it on at a tiny bit of an angle there because you want to make sure you cover all that exposed metal. Okay, by putting it at the angle, I'm making sure that it wraps upward or downward, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so there we have it. If you have shrink wrap, it's even prettier, but you're not going to see any of this. It's going to be behind the stereo. Okay, so that's the black, which is the ground. Okay, that's the ignition. So you just pull the little plastic piece off. Alright, they cut these so that all the wires are ready for you. Not on all of them, but okay, so same thing. Give it a little twist. Okay, make sure there's no backdrop. Now I'm using a really thin solder. It really doesn't matter for this because, like I said, it's not like you need it. The electrical tape will hold it on its own, but this is the best way to do it. This thing could use a new tip. That's why it kind of takes a second before it starts melting it. You see, get on there real nice, pretty. Only takes a second to dry. See, not going to hurt you. A little bit of electrical tape. Okay. Now I've had this thing forever. Okay, this thing, I think you can get them for like 30 bucks, believe it or not. I think it's a little bit of a rip-off, but this one's really old. But let me tell you, that works perfectly. And all you do is you see the little slots. They do have numbers on them. Mine are pretty worn and dirty, but they each have a different size gauge wire. Okay, so as you can see, what happens is as I close it, the teeth come and close it, and then when you keep squeezing, it separates. Okay, so what happens is I take one of these wires, okay, and I believe this is going to be like a 18 gauge maybe, so put it in there, give yourself some slack, put it in the right slot, and as I squeeze it, okay, right there, it's holding the wire now. As I'm holding it, because these have grabbed onto it, now I just hold this, squeeze more, pulls the plastic off, and now I have a stripped wire. Okay, so now this is purple and black. So here's purple and black. Now if you use fatter solder, it's not going to go as fast as mine does. As you can see, as soon as I touch it, it starts to go fast. But if you have a thicker one, it's not going to do that, obviously. So a little bit is fine. Once again, good. Some tape. Okay. Now my son's going to do some and show you how easy it can be done. Just start with any wire you want. It doesn't matter what order you're doing in. That's the top. Flip this around. A little more. A little more would be better, but there you go. Now on the other side, just pulling the plastic piece off. It's already off over there. Trying to get them all knotted up. It's going to give you a hard time. Twist them both. There you go. There you go, move them both back and forth. There you go. Now you got it with the gun. Just move it around. Well, there you go. That's enough. Okay. There you go. Nice solder. A little piece of electrical tape. Make sure you cover all that metal up. You know, cover all that metal up. That wire touches some metal in the vehicle, it might ground it out and short out your radio. Okay, so now he's going to continue doing the rest of this, and the rest of this video is not really, we're not going to show you how we plug it in, because basically what you're going to do is you're going to go out to your vehicle and you're going to pull off the plastic that's around your original stereo. You probably pop them off. You might have to use screwdrivers. You might have to just pull them. There might be slots for screws. I don't know, depending on what vehicle you have. He's driving an old S10. And so what he's going to do is he's going to pull out the plastic around his old stereo. And then when he pulls the stereo itself out of the car on the back, is going to be the wiring harness to the original stereo. Okay, and he's going to unplug it from a plug that looks just like this. On his, it's there are 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. On yours, it might be 1. Okay, and all you're going to do is unplug it and pull the radio out. When you're done, plug this one into the vehicle. This one goes into the vehicle. It'll also be wired up here. And this one comes over here to the stereo. And it goes in like that. These RCAs are for when you're hooking up an amp. This right here is your antenna. So on the old radio, you'll have a wire with a little metal chrome piece sticking out of it. You pull that out and you're putting it in this one, and that's your antenna so you can get radio stations. On his, I believe this is for his microphone, which is right here. Okay, they don't all have that. He also has a USB. Oh, this is for the microphone. That's a USB. I am not sure what that one is, but they won't all have that. Your instructions will say. But basically, this is how you wire it up. Just color to color. They are labeled. Plug it in, and it literally just installs. Do not pay somebody to put in a car stereo. It'll take you less than an hour. Thanks for watching. Son's going to finish this up. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments. Thank you.